What do you regret finding out? My mother died in a car accident when I was 3. I found out from a newspaper article years later that it was her fault. She wasn't paying attention and crossed the yellow line and ended both her life and that of the person in the other car. Same happened to me, although it wasn't my mom. It was my grandpa. He died in 1955 and neither my dad or I ever knew the circumstances. Found out from old newspaper articles that he was drinking and driving, although it wasn't illegal then or looked down upon as much. I hate this feeling of disappointment and I wish my dad hasn't found out either. That my mother knew she had cancer a year before she told anyone, or rather, a year before she was diagnosed, after I literally forced her to see a doctor for her then extremely distended stomach. I was under the impression that we told each other absolutely everything because up until that point, we did. I found out the truth a month after she died when I'd requested all of her cancer-related paperwork from her oncologist. My mother found out she had a lung disease, not cancer, an autoimmune thing, and she had about 7 years to live. She just all of a sudden quit smoking. It wasn't caused by smoking, but quitting would extend her life. Several years later she just said, "Oh, I have this lung issue but they don't really know what it comes from." She was very elusive because I'm a nurse and she didn't want me to research her disease and find out she was dying. The last year of her life she was on oxygen. I knew she was sick but not that she was dying. Nobody did. I knew the time was near, but I thought I had a few more years. She ended up in the hospital, got pneumonia and died a few days later with me at her side. She knew I would be an absolute wreck if I knew for all those years, so she tried to protect me from that. As I sat at her beside, when she was really sick, I knew she was worried about me. She was dying and worried about me. I told her through tears that it was okay to die. I could not get the words out completely. I just said, "You are really suffering, aren't you?" And she nodded yes. I said, "It's okay. I will be okay. It's okay to. It's okay. I'll be fine. It's okay too." I couldn't even say it, but she knew what I was saying. She just nodded yes. I don't know if I wish I knew or not. My dad informed me when I got back from Iraq that I was the reason he and my mother got a divorce. I never really wanted to join the military anyways, and it fucked me up big time. They had financial troubles and my mom sent me care packages quite a lot. Apparently, that put them into bankruptcy, and if I hadn't joined it wouldn't have happened. I just wanted to get out of that house because it was like I didn't exist. Edit. I've never received this much support regarding this issue. Thank you. For the first time I think I really believed it when I told myself it wasn't my fault. I'm smiling so hard through the tears. Seriously, thank you. Edit. Thanks for the award. I've read every comment even though I didn't reply to all. I'm so seriously happy right now and I don't feel like I deserve to be at all, but hell, I'll take it. I didn't meet my dad until I was 15. It was in secret since my mother wanted nothing to do with him. Within the first 3 sentences exchanged, he felt the need to tell me that I was conceived on a beach in July during the last time they had sex. I was the product of going away fuck in a relationship doomed before my conception. He followed it up with, "We were good at 2 things, me and your mom. Fightin' and fucking." Unfortunately we were fighting more than we were fucking, so it stopped being worth it. 10 years later and this is still how I get my family history. It's something that my parents regret. Not telling my brother at an early age he's adopted. Edit. Everything it's fine nowadays. Parents who want to adopt in the future, be kind and don't lie for your own safety. Edit number 2. My parents are fine. I just don't know how to properly speak right in English. My brother was adopted and he was told from the moment he could understand he had a different mum when he was born, but she couldn't look after her, so he came to us. As he got older more info was supplied, but there was never a moment he was told. He always knew. I remember when he was about 10 he was in the pool with dad and he said, "Does that mean I was adopted?" and dad said yes. My adopted brother says, "Well then you are not my real dad and can't tell me what to do." My dad, bless him, replies, "I have a will. If I die it says this house and everything I own will be divided up and given to my kids. Every kid gets the same amount and you are named as one of those kids." My adopted brother never raised the issue again. Edit. Thanks for the silver and the gold for a comment below. Found out my girlfriend told my parents I was extremely suicidal and they responded, "So, what do you want us to do about that?" and they never brought it up again. Few months after they kicked me out for textbook depression, I found out my mom cashed out my Upland program that froze college tuition prices for me at cost of $19.91 pricing. My grandmother set up and put money in. She used the $25,000 in it to pay off IRS from problems she incurred due to drug addiction. Finding out that my now 23-year-old sister is in a relationship with a man of 65. He started grooming her when she was 19 and they signed a lease on a farm down the end of a glen where they live in a small cottage, run kennels and follow the belief of Steiner. I found out just before I moved my life down to London when I was 19 myself, and it has destroyed my family. My parents are grieving, feeling that they have lost their daughter to this monster. I try and see her as often as I can, but it hurts so bad. She is not the same girl that she used to be and I have no idea how to handle it. Edit. Yes, the age gap does upset me and was hard to hear as it is still something that is not quite socially accepted, therefore hard to get my head round. What is also hard is that they live alone down the end of a glen, Scottish term for a deep valley, and he is there with her day in and day out teaching her about Steiner, which is believed to be a cult type community. Just how close my pilonidal cyst, a hole that forms where your tail was as a fetus, was to making contact with my spine. I had an open wound for a year because the first surgeon was a fucking joke and it ripped immediately, and he told me to take sit baths to help it close up naturally. By the time 11 months later I got the second surgery, it was apparently only millimeters from tunneling to my spine, which could have caused me infection or death. I wish I never knew how close it was. BC, I am terrified it's still tunneling on the inside even though completely closed now on the outside. I had one and for some reason, the insurance I had wouldn't cover the surgery. It was listed as an elective surgery, so I had to wait months to get it removed properly. I couldn't walk and it ruptured several times, spewing blood. Yeah, that's totally an elective surgery. What we ended up having to do was go to the ER at a certain day and coincidentally run into my doctor there to get the procedure done. It was starting to spread and I had a second welt on my back. I was under for over an hour and a half because it had spread so wide and deep when it was supposed to be like a half-hour procedure. Then when I got back to school, was a senior I think, after being out of gym for a while, the gym teacher publicly screamed at me in front of the class because I wasn't doing curl-ups like everyone else. I gave him the doctor's note the day before. Just how disgusting of a human being I was and am. When I was a kid, I knew nothing. My mom is a single mother and she didn't take proper care of me. I took showers once a week or less. I was messy. I was ugly. It was bad all around. Other kids called me names, avoided me, bullied me. I never knew why. Once I grew up I realized just how bad it actually was. Today I am aware of two things, where my childhood went wrong and that in 10 years I'll realize all the wrong things I am today. Edit. Well, this sure wasn't a comment I'd have expected to explode. I want to add some things here. My mother had her hands way too full. Our father died at the worst time possible. We were poor. She had my sister to push to faculty and me to elementary school. I don't blame her for what happened and things are different today. I don't feel shame or pity for what I went through. There were far worse things that happened to me. The thing is, when I look back sometimes I think I was happier when I wasn't old enough to understand. So, please, don't pity me. Life is better than it was before and most importantly, now it's only in my hands. That my mom knew my stepfather was abusing me and did nothing. Edit. I wish I could respond to everyone, but to be honest I don't know that I have the emotional strength. This was a random comment that I did not expect to get much attention. Thank you to those who have given support and kind comments. Fuck you to those who have said I should have done something more as a 10-year-old kid. And I am so sorry to those who have had to deal with the same thing. I wish I could fix it for everyone. I know that today has been painful reading everyone's comments and stories for me. I am so sorry. I'm going to take a nap and turn off my notifications. Dude, I'm really sorry for that and I kinda feel it. My biological dad did the same when I was 4 years old, till I was 5. But once my mom found that out, that same night she punched him, literally in the face. And then we took the car to eat the shit out ourselves from there. For me she is my hero and I really hate the fact that not everybody have had the same luck as me. Looking on my ex-GF's phone when we were on a trip to Ithaca, NY. I would take any physical pain I've had so far over that I felt when I saw the things on there. Totally gut-wrenching. I wanted to marry her. Edit. I tried to forgive her and worked very hard to do so. At the end of the year I was ready to start our new life and put it all behind. Got a job in Colorado. We had talked about going there and it was my dream since childhood. The day after I signed a lease for a nice apartment she ghosted me. I tried hopelessly to reach her, calling dozens of times a day. She dumped me over an Instagram message after about a month of this. After trying so hard for her and finally feeling better, she ended it that way and left me completely alone 1,700 miles from anyone I knew. Thought pretty hard about offing myself a few times.